Hello and happy Tuesday, everybody. Here's what's coming up tonight on Now. How would you like it if your internet provider or your cable provider decided what shows you can and you can't watch? We're going to talk about that.
Plus, two mothers were brought together for the first time today by an unspeakable tragedy. They talk about losing their children to cancer and their mission afterwards.
Also, lots of people posting pictures of putting up their Christmas trees. So, real tree or fake tree? Hard-hitting questions.
Very hard-hitting. Yeah. This is News Center Now.
Hello and happy Tuesday, everybody. I'm Goldberg.
And I'm Christina Rex, in for Amanda Hill. Some sad story to start tonight. Jacob, Brock, and Haley. These are just some of the brave children who have died from cancer in Maine in the last 3 months. Their stories are difficult to tell, and they've prompted reaction from tens of thousands of you online.
Two mothers who lost their daughters just 3 weeks apart are determined to make a difference and to not let their girls die in vain.
Two new friends who never wanted to meet under these circumstances.
And we've just kind of been grief sisters, I guess.
Bonding over the pain of losing a child to cancer.
Not a great way to make a friend, no. But I'm really grateful.
Tabitha and Amy are meeting for the first time, but feel like they already know one another.
Thanks, Mama Bear.
Tabitha lost her 12-year-old daughter Haley after a widely publicized, courageous 6-year fight with leukemia.
She was the beat of our family.
Amy's battle was quieter and quicker. She lost her 4-year-old Madeline after just a 2-month fight with a brain tumor.
4 months ago, if you would have told me I was here talking about my daughter not being here, it would have been impossible. You would look at her and you had no idea.
The two girls died just 3 weeks apart. They're not the only kids Maine has lost recently.
We lost 5 of them, at least that we know of, in a 2.5-month span. And I'm not okay with that. Like, we need to do something to stop this from happening. It can't be. I mean, we can send all the cards that we want, all the Christmas cards, all the Halloween cards, all of the everything, but we need to find a cure so that we don't need to keep sending cards.
Both Tabitha and Amy are committed to funding research so other families don't have to go through what they've been through.
Kids are supposed to be our future. I wasn't supposed to bury my daughter. The only way that we're going to find out how to stop this from happening to other families and other kids is research.
Throughout their mission, they're keeping their girls close to their hearts through their favorite toys.
This is Snugglebugs.
Haley called her Meow Meow.
And by finding comfort in one another.
But there's a certain kind of madness that comes with losing your child, and meeting somebody who can kind of understand that madness.
I can't even go a day without crying.
Tabitha and Amy will rely on each other's strength to make their mission a reality.
That's why I'll keep saying her name, and even if it makes me cry, I want people to talk about her because she mattered and she was.
Tabitha and her daughter Haley actually started a nonprofit together when Haley was still alive. Tabitha is also working right now to get a Maine license plate made, and once she's successful, all proceeds from that would go exclusively to research at the Maine Children's Cancer Program. With us now is Dudley, who is the philanthropy manager for the Maine Children's Cancer Program. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Obviously, you know, both of these moms, they're so heartbroken, but they also want to give back. Is that something you guys see commonly?
It actually is. I think it's a really important part of the healing process for a lot of families. It's amazing. They really want to support the Maine Children's Cancer Program, the place where their children had received treatment, and they really want to help other families that are going through the same thing.
And a lot of people we've seen online, you know, who haven't necessarily gone through this, just feel so helpless and they want to help any way that they can. So what is the best way for people to make sure, you know, their money and their time and their resources is going towards kids in Maine who are suffering?
I would say making a donation to the Maine Children's Cancer Program would be an excellent way to help children in Maine who are going through this unthinkable disease. So Maine Children's Cancer Program, one of the things that really sets it apart and makes it an amazing organization is the fact that it participates in research. There are 5 physicians that are on staff right now. 3 of them are actually leading national clinical research trials right from Scarborough, Maine. So it's really incredible to think that our program in Maine is really having a huge effect on the fight against childhood cancer worldwide.
And both of these moms said, you know, their hope for the future is, you know, they couldn't save their daughters in this situation, but their hope is that they could, you know, come up with enough money to fund research and maybe save kids in the future. Is there a way to set up your donation so that it goes specifically to research?
Actually, we're seeing that most of our fundraising support for the Maine Children's Cancer Program is going towards research. The majority of the funds that we're raising through our communities is going towards research.
Great. So can you tell us, you know, people donate often and they wonder where exactly their money goes. Are you able to give people some perspective on if they donate to the Maine's Children's Cancer Program, what happens with their money?
Yeah, so in addition to research, which research is really the biggest, that's the biggest need right now, because our doctors who are participating in research, they receive some funding from foundations, national foundations and whatnot, but those funds are not as readily available. That seems to be the trend. So just knowing that there is this wonderful support for them, the support from the community, it's really allowing them to do these research trials, that will be what leads to
saving lives in the future.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We actually do have links. You know, today's Giving Tuesday, so we will have links available on our website if anybody is interested to donate and help some of these kids right here in Maine. Lee, back to you.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Cyber Monday sales topped out huge, $6.6 billion by midnight last night. That's according to Adobe Analytics. Now, that's nearly a 17% increase from last year of about $5.7 billion. Businesses nationwide are trying to come up with ways to keep up with the trend, and Walmart just revealed its next step in keeping up with those online sales. In-store pickup towers is huge. Priya Srideen in San Antonio has our story.
Here at the Walmart in New Braunfels, technology meets traditional after Thanksgiving shopping. This supercenter just unveiled the 16 by 8 foot wide pickup tower about a week ago. It's the fourth one in Texas. Shoppers can use the Walmart website to make purchases, and then they'll receive an email notifying them the package is ready for pickup. Like a giant vending machine, the tower will dispense the package within a minute of scanning the barcode from the email.
As you're looking at online shopping as a growing business, it's all about speed, the digital age, so this is just another thing that we're doing just to try to speed that up.
This holiday season, Walmart tripled the number of items they're offering online to cater to the customers' shift in buying habits.
I guess it's the way of the future in shopping.
Small businesses seem to be embracing the change too. Missy Rindler is the owner of Moon Mippy, a stationery and gift store in Stone Oak that's been in business for 20 years. She's working to launch an online store at the request of her customers.
We have had people say they would like to shop with us, but either they don't have time to come over, they don't live in the area, they're out of town, they want to show it to somebody that is out of town, so we'd like to reach as many people as we can.
Now, Walmart says it will add these massive 16 feet tall, 8 foot wide towers to more than 500 stores around the country.
Wow.
Yep.
So today, if you stepped outside, it was definitely winter. I'm feeling November. Is it going to stay like that? Let's ask
tomorrow
Pete.
it's going to be
summer tomorrow.
Maine Diego.
No.
Oh!
The best thing about this winter for our viewers is you won't have to hear Lee say that, hopefully, at least. Morning lows, to Christina's point, it was the coldest of the season for a lot of us. 17 in Portland, 2 in Berlin, 9 in Greenville. Temperatures, though, actually will continue to rise during the overnight hours. We're in the 30s right now, but unlike last night, we now have a southwest flow. Temperatures will actually get warmer throughout the night, such that by tomorrow morning, most of us will be in the 40s. It's because of this warm front right here, and as that lifts through, we get into the warm sector down across the mid-Atlantic. It's a one-day only kind of event, and it's tomorrow. So a couple of showers come through late tonight, early tomorrow morning. A few sprinkles along the coastline around 8, 9 in the morning. After that, that clears out. Temperatures in the upper 40s to mid-50s. We could get up to 53, 54 degrees over southwestern Maine before before it cools back down on Wednesday night and into Thursday. But here's what I'm thinking: 54 in Portland, 50 in Rockland, 50 in Bangor, 51 in Lewiston. Significantly cooler, unfortunately, for the mountains and northern Maine, where we'll be right around 43 and 40 in Caribou. Guys, big pattern change coming up as we look into December. We'll talk more about that in a few moments.
Awesome.
All right,
Thanks, Keith.
Thank you very much, sir. Maine lawmakers are considering the future of a $12 million tax break program after a state report found that the benefits are not flowing to the businesses that law had planned on targeting.
Now, the Press Herald reports that the Pine Tree Development Zone program was intended to provide a tax break to companies that create new jobs in areas with high unemployment. Lawmakers reviewed a report yesterday that found many companies benefited without creating new jobs, and that legislative changes greatly expanded the areas where it was available. Some lawmakers on the tax committee said the program needs to be refocused. Coming up, you might expect to be in control of your internet experience when you hop online.
Okay, but that could all change come December 14th. Chris Costa will explain what it all means when News Center Now continues. All right, would you want your internet or TV provider to choose or even restrict what sites or television shows you would have access to?
The FCC will soon vote on a proposal that could allow companies like Comcast, Time Warner, or Spectrum to limit what you have access to by getting rid of old rules that treated the internet and cable like utility, similar to water or electricity. Chris Costa explains net neutrality and what eliminating it could mean for consumers.
Most of us get on our devices without thinking too much about how the back end works. Your device connects to your internet provider, usually a cable or phone company. Comcast happens to be the biggest one in the nation. That provider connects you to all the online services you want to use. Net neutrality isn't crazy complicated. You're looking at a basic example of how it works. It's how you expect the internet to work already. Notice how all of the connections to these services are equal. You get decent speed watching a show on Netflix and watching a live video on Facebook. The idea is that the internet is like a utility. You pay for internet and you get connected to everything on it the same way. So what's the other way? It's a different philosophy that says these things don't need to be equal as a rule. Your provider is a business competing in a free market, and it should be allowed to make deals with other companies you use online. One example is called a fast lane. Say Amazon comes out with a hot new show and it wants to pump it out in glorious super high def to everyone. It would pay Comcast for better connection to you to handle all that data. To help make that happen, providers like Comcast could do what's called throttling. Amazon paid for a better connection, so Comcast might slow down the connection that goes to Netflix or Facebook, for example, because Amazon paid for better speed to reach you. And the most dramatic extreme is blocking. Say Facebook is taking up lots of data. Comcast wants them to pay up, but they can't reach a deal. Comcast could cut them off, and now you don't have Facebook at all if you're a Comcast customer. You already know what this looks like. Only instead of Facebook's and Amazon's, it's been with cable channels, fighting with cable and satellite providers. A big argument for this new way is that it would encourage new technology like the next super-duper high-def 3D total immersion show that Amazon might cook up. A big argument against is that if a new company creates something awesome, it may not ever be able to connect to you because startups don't have piles of cash to pay for a bigger pipeline, so it never gets off the ground. It's a real difference in philosophy with big money on both sides, both claiming to be on the side of freedom. This side claims freedom of competition in the marketplace. This side claims freedom of access to the internet itself.
So Comcast repeatedly said on Twitter today that it would not block, throttle, or discriminate against lawful content, no matter how the FCC rules turn out. Now, we haven't heard back yet from Spectrum on their position about this paid priority concept. The FCC is set to vote on these new rules on December 14th. And we also spoke with a tech expert today who says there are some companies like Google, they don't agree with this move at all. He says consumers who prefer that freedom of internet access, the way that it is now, not free competition, should write to their congressional leaders and tell them to vote against this. So it's weird. I mean, think about it the way you did with water or turning on a light. Imagine a power company said, well, you pay more, so we'll give you the light in 1 second. Well, you pay less, we'll give you the light in 3 seconds.
Is there a lot of support for this? Like, does this look like it might actually go through?
In the FCC right now, yes, and all that information is going to be up on our website. The chairman behind it is fully supporting it, and basically saying that, you know, if you are Amazon, if you make it equal for everybody, it doesn't encourage you to come up with these new shows, pay for a better signal that most people would say, okay, well, I'm going to go directly to this and the competition, and encouraging that between those different companies.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, bud. All right, when we come back, Keith Carson's got our full weather forecast. Can't wait. All right, now that you've started your holiday shopping, soon you'll be stashing those gifts under a tree. But be careful if you've not gotten your tree yet, because according to the National Christmas Tree Association, it's going to be harder to find Christmas trees this year.
Did you get yours?
Yeah, I have 2.
Okay, I have none, so you have one for me. The problem is a matter of bad timing here. When the economy started tanking in the Great Recession, Christmas tree sales dropped. Growers didn't cut down as many trees as they normally would as demand slackened. That left less room in the groves to plant seedlings, so now that the demand is back up, the trees that were planted aren't quite tall enough, and the older trees are too tall. You can definitely still find a tree, you just may have to be a little choosier, or get a really tall or a really short tree, right?
Sure.
So as you can see, the demand for real trees seems a lot higher than the demand for artificial ones, but we wanted to find out for ourselves, which do you prefer, a real tree or an artificial tree?
Log on to our Pulse poll at pulse.newscentermaine.com or click on the Pulse tab on your mobile app and weigh in and let us know, real tree or artificial tree. I've had both. I love the smell of the real tree. And the cleanliness of the artificial tree.
Yeah, but the smell you need.
I agree. I had a real tree for most of my life. Last year we bought a good artificial tree, because that is one of those you get with pay for situations.
That is true.
And then we bought this candle from this company in South Carolina that I'm willing to give the name of.
Smells like pine?
It's unbelievable. It smells just like a tree.
So you have a fake smell with a fake tree.
Correct.
But it feels
we
real.
live in a condo, and guess what I'm not doing? Carrying that tree out in January down the stairs and then back in all the stairs. Yeah. So I think you can get good ones, but if you buy one that's like $50, you will.
Right.
You will get a
it will not look
fake
good.
tree.
Yeah.
It'll be the Griswold family Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
Also the weather.
Little full.
Wait, is that today?
A lot of sap. All right, current temperatures in the 30s right now. It's actually going to get warmer during the overnight hours. That doesn't happen all that often, but it's because of this warm front that's now lifted across northern Maine. So this is a warmer air mass, so much so that we'll be able to counteract the fact that it's nighttime, and temperatures will increase into the 40s in most spots by early tomorrow morning, and setting us up for a mild day. There it is, hour by hour forecast. Temperatures in the 40s. Again, here's 6 a.m. Typically 4 to 6 a.m. is when you have your overnight lows, and we'll be 44 in Portland, 47 in Rockland, and right around 40 in Freiburg. Some showers move through early in the morning, but it's quick, such that by mid-morning we're cleared out, and it's a good-looking day. A lot of sunshine, temperatures in the low 50s along the coastline, upper 40s to right around 50 degrees from Lewis and Augusta, Bangor, and then Millinocket probably 42, 43 degrees. Sunshine through the remainder of the afternoon, which is unfortunately short this time of the year. And then Thursday, back to sunny conditions, but temperatures only in the upper 30s. Our next storm system moves in on Friday. It's not a huge storm. It'll be rain along the coastline, periods of rain through Friday morning into Friday afternoon, and then some wet snow in the mountains before it moves out by Friday late afternoon, early evening. Accumulations are not big, nothing along the coastline in the interior, about a coating to an inch in the foothills, and then 1 to 3 in some of the higher terrain where they're kind of blowing snow anyway, as the ski area is just raring to get going. After that, Saturday looks quiet, and then Sunday looks interesting. It is the return of my favorite weather phenomenon, the Norland Trough, which is literally the hardest thing to forecast, I think, in all of New England. It's this low offshore and this little area of moisture that comes in somewhere along the coastline. This comes in on Sunday afternoon. We'll keep an eye on it. It would be crazy to really take a legitimate shot at it this early. What I do see, guys, is a big cold snap coming across the eastern seaboard for around the 8th and 9th of December. You know it's legit when natural gas jumps out of its pants, because that's one of those, you know, everybody knows where this is going, and it's going to be quite chilly through mid-December. So we'll see if that translates into snow or just cold. That we cannot tell you this far in advance. Coats for kids, by the way, Saturday morning looks okay, right around 30 degrees. Chilly-ish, but not brutal, and people should be able to get out and meet all these friendly faces.
Yes, in their ugly sweaters.
In the ugly sweaters.
My sweater for Saturday is epic.
Epically ugly.
Not saying a word.
All right.
Oh,
Actually,
so
I'm only
excited.
saying one word. Epic.
I'm looking forward to
One
it.
word.
I'll be
Okay,
at the
so
Shaws in Auburn. Come say hi.
weather and sweaters was fun. Let's get back to the great tree debate, though. Let's take a look at our pulse poll.
All right, you guys
How we
are
doing?
telling us right now it's close. 52%,
It's really split.
51, 50, 50-50.
As we were speaking.
Real tree, artificial tree. You still have some time. Let us know. Real tree, fake tree. Which one do you like? Log on to our pulse poll, pulse.newscentermaine.com, or click on the pulse tile on our mobile app. Let's go to the real Cindy Williams and find out what's coming up at 5:30. Hey, Cindy.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. We got a lot more news coming up on News Center at 5:30, including the story of one woman who opened up a box that had been shipped to Portland, and she got the surprise of her life.
Every time
We'll tell you what she found. And we keep hearing about the new GOP tax plan and how it's only going to benefit the rich. But is that really true? We're going to verify that coming up on News Center at 5:30.
we've asked leader.
Awesome, Cindy. Thanks so much. We're going to be right back with Keith dropping some knowledge. It's Brain Drops.
All right, I've been taking a lot of flack during commercial breaks. What are we talking about in Brain Drops today? Oh, this is interesting, actually. It ties into the story we had earlier, which is
full circle.
Researchers in, this is in Australia, have found that stress suppresses the immune system's response to cancer treatments, specifically cancer treatments that are designed to activate your own immune system and attack. And it may also play a role with chemotherapy as well. This actually makes sense, guys, if you think about it. I'm sure you've heard before that stress has been proven to suppress your immune system. You know, the old saying, stress kills. Literally, it does. It's not just heart attacks and heart disease. It's also the immune system. So what they're trying to figure out now is what's the best way to handle that? Because inherently, being diagnosed with cancer is a stressful life event.
And going to treatments is a stressful
All of this.
experience.
So it's your body is going to react to that. So what they're looking into is, does it make sense to try to offset with something like a medicinal marijuana to relieve the stress while you're in the early stages, not just the late stages, which is kind of where they're using marijuana right now. So this is interesting. I know, Lee, you've been spending a lot of time at the Children's Hospital and whatnot about different ways of getting this done. And your own body fighting is I think, what they're trying to get done at the end of the day here.
Sure, and obviously the theory is great. You know, try to
Right.
relax, you know, but try to relax, oh, you have cancer. So,
Right.
you know, it's...
It has to be a medicated
Sure.
relaxation. I'm sure there's some techniques they can use
Yeah,
to
and
help.
medicinal marijuana has been used for pain relief. You know,
Right.
if people don't want morphine or the heavy stuff where they're kind of totally out of it. But obviously something like this could help with the chill out factor.
Earlier too. They would use it earlier to help with the treatment, not as the treatment didn't work and here's something to hold you over. So
I bet
interesting
to
research
prepare you for
nonetheless.
it,
Sure.
actually.
Going to keep going at this thing till they figure it out, I think.
All right.
Very interesting.
I feel very relaxed right now.
Good.
Okay, good talk.
News Center at 5:30 is coming up
right now.